Steve, it takes guts to drop out like you did.
Higher education comes at the expense of experience.
Boss!
What are you working on?
It's a computer terminal that hooks up to the TV for the display.
Steve?
Hi, Ashton.
Hi.
I was really impressed by your performance.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially how angry you were. Was it? Yeah, it's a really angry part. How was that, being so angry?
That was probably the hardest thing to do. Is to justify being angry. I tend to have like a pretty long, calm demeanor,
Yeah.
and to be able to just sort of lose your cool at a moment's notice is that's I think a skill in and of itself.
It's a blatant ripoff.
I'm gonna sue you for every cent!
You are your own worst enemy.
But I don't think it was like, ultimately, I don't think it was like unjustifiably angry. I think that when the character got upset, it was because the character cared, and it was the character's passion that drove the character to be upset.
So you understood him?
Yeah, I think I understood it. It took a while.
Yeah.
It took a while to understand. I actually, there was a funny story, but I think it explains a lot about who he was. Somebody was telling me that they were having lunch with him. Actually, the person who told me this, well, maybe I shouldn't say who it was. A well-known Apple employee told me a story about Steve, that they were sitting at lunch one day and they saw another Apple employee in the cafeteria, and that the employee was really overweight. And Steve Jobs got up and he wrote something down on a business card, and he walked over to the person and he said, "You're very, very fat and you're going to die young if you don't do something about it. Here's the number of a person you should call to get help." And for a lot of people, that would seem like a mean person that would go and do that. But the person that was telling me the story explained to me that he just actually cared about the person and had the courage to be honest. And I think sometimes that comes off as anger.
Apple Incorporated went public this morning.
Chasing dreams since I was 14. Y'all can't stop me.
We gotta make the small things unforgettable.
Typeface isn't a pressing issue. Get out.
What was your relationship to Steve Jobs before you even got attached to this project?
I was a fan of the products that he created, and admired him from afar as a leader and an inventor and an artist, and somebody who inspired a lot of people to be better at what they did.
When did you realize that you could portray Steve Jobs?
Never. I think I just dove in and hoped that by the time the camera started to roll that I'd gotten some assimilation of who he was. You kind of, when you play somebody who was actually alive and actually lived and that people knew and have like a reference to, I don't think you ever know that you can play them. You're kind of a puppeteer, and you're using your body as really the puppet, and your emotions are your emotions, but you have to sort of project them into the canvas of that person. And I think it's like it's more like a Monet than a realist painting. It's like my impression of who he was, based on the detective work I was able to do to put the pieces together.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.